Wife blames me for driving her into doing what she did. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. So I was head over heels in love with this woman, and we hit the 6-month mark in our relationship, and I decided to propose because it felt so right and we had already made plans to raise a family together and grow old together. She very happily said yes, and it was the happiest either of us had been in our lives. We were working dead-end jobs, but then I found a way for us to build a career through the California Conservation Corps. We left home to go live and work at a residential facility, and things were going great for 2 months. I had a bunch of volunteer hours, she was the recycling coordinator, and I became president of the community. Everything was on the up and up. My roommate had gotten sick and put in quarantine, and since I shared a room with him, I was moved to an isolation dorm. During my time in isolation, I had requested a few friends to send my wife my way to talk with her and spend time with her. She never came. The next day I was pissed at her and told her so, and then she told me we needed to talk. She suggested that maybe we weren't the right people for each other and that we weren't a good fit. I have never felt so strongly about someone, so this blindsided me and I had a panic attack. About 6 hours later I went to go talk to her more, and she let it out that she made out with this other guy that lives and works with us for a couple hours, and he fingered her as well. My stomach and my heart dropped. The next day I requested an emergency transfer to a different work location, and they said I would have to wait a while. I had to wait for 3 weeks to get out of there while she was a couple with that other dude right in front of my face. I lived in hell for 3 weeks. I got the transfer and thought the distance would help, but I wasn't aware that the damage was still happening to me. Due to her, I developed panic disorder and severe depression. I had 20 to 25 panic attacks in the span of a month, and I've never had them before. At one point I was having visual hallucinations of her, and I had her voice inside my head telling me to kill myself. Things got real bad to the point where I needed to step down from my work and focus on therapy and mental health. It's been about 3 months now, and it's finally starting to get better. I can understand that I drove her away from myself, but I did not drive her into the arms of another man. I can only take responsibility for my actions and not hers. It just bugs the hell out of me that she told me she didn't cheat because she had an emotional attachment to the other guy, and in her head knew that she was separated from me, even though she never had a talk with me saying she wanted to be separated. Here's the real kicker, she's a psychology major. It does get better, my friends. I went through hell and I made it out, although I do feel like the shell of the man I once was. Edit, I am 24M. Here are some of the best comments from our community. We have all been there. You are not alone. At least you were not married to this cheater or had kids. Count this as a blessing. You got out unscathed. Imagine having to see this nightmare all the time and co-parenting. Here is the second story. 8 years together seemed easy for her to forget. I'll start by giving a short breakdown, then give more details. My wife and I have been married for 8 years. I am active duty military and have moved twice in total. My wife was always the person who talked badly about people who cheated or did things similar, and always told me she would prefer I divorce her before I ever cheated on her. Projection? Soon after we moved to a new state and bought a house, my wife got a new job, and I eventually found out she was having an emotional affair with a coworker through text messaging and social media. Later found out she was hanging out with the guy and had kissed him, and I saw messages of her saying she loved him. She lied about this all at first until I got it out of her, but she wouldn't stop the affair for months. At multiple points she was talking about divorce and her moving out of the house to live in the area and sharing custody of the kids, etc. It finally did end, and I thought we would move on happily ever after I started to regain trust. She says the reason she did this was because I was neglectful of her and our kids, because I would play video games a lot and was generally not helpful around the house, etc. I admit I have had problems and could be a better person for sure. I know I'm not perfect. This is just a basic explanation of what she said her problems were with me. Fast forward 2 years later, and my wife goes back to our home state with her parents for 4 days while I have the kids. She came back and I had to go across the country for work for a week. When I came back she told me she wanted a divorce, and I was back to old habits and she couldn't take it anymore. Told me this time at least there wasn't another guy involved. Later we come to an agreement. She is going to take the kids and live back home for 6 to 9 months to think and regain her independence, and live near her parents for support, and she wants to see them more, all to see if she would want to try to work it out before coming back, and I agreed because I wanted a chance at saving this so badly. She hadn't left yet, and we went home for Thanksgiving for a week to see family. It was a roller coaster of her showing some affection and arguing about not sure if she even wants it to work and might not move back after leaving. We then came back from the trip and my suspicion got the best of me and I did some investigating even though I felt back because I was trying to trust her still from the last time. I found out she was talking to her old boyfriend from back in high school and she admitted to it. But I didn't want to end the relationship and still wanted me to let her go back with my kids to the state where they are both from and where the boyfriend lives. After I found out about the boyfriend, I told her I didn't want her to go. She later admitted to me after I overheard her talking to him late at night behind closed doors that she slept with him, twice in one night. I even told her after that after getting angry I still love her and want to work it out. Where we are now is that she still wants to move back to continue the plan she had but tells me she wants an open relationship while she is there and I told her flat out no. During all this, divorce has been discussed and kid custody should we go through with it. After learning some legal information, she knows she cannot leave the state to live back home with our kids and will likely be required to live here as long as I am here. So she can't really pursue her new relationship and she has taken it hard, gotten mad and thrown tantrums. She tells me we can't fix things living here and begs me to let her go back or if we divorce let her have the kids. I told her I won't let her go back and if we divorce I'm not letting her take my kids. I feel she doesn't seem to actually want a divorce or she would have done so already. She even at one point said I won and she would just stay married to me and be miserable. After all of this I wonder if the problem has actually been me that caused her to do this or if she is just making excuses for herself to do these things to me. I am contemplating divorcing her myself since she won't, but I really don't want to ruin my kids' lives and I still love my wife. I want to wait to divorce to see if she eventually gets over this guy like the last one and come to her senses, but I don't know how much longer I can take it. She talks to him 6 hours a day and texts the rest of the hours she's awake with him and basically told me if we go back home or if I let her go she will cheat on me and it doesn't matter because since she already did the damage has been done. I think she is just really emotionally confused and isn't sure what she wants but thinks the grass might be greener on the other side and doesn't want to give it up to see if it isn't. I've lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks and can't eat or sleep. It's hitting me so hard I am anxious and nauseous every day all day for the entire time after finding out there is another man involved. There have been some details left out because this is already incredibly long. And if anything needs clarifying I will definitely do so. What should I do? Let it play out trying to keep her here and see if she eventually comes to her senses, or just file for divorce and move on with our lives even though it will be completely complicated with 2 kids, me still loving her, and me being active military to complicate matters even further? Here are some of the best comments from our community. You guys have been married for 8 years. Your marriage is over. You need to accept that fact. She's miserable and find a way to amicably resolve the situation. Keep in mind once you hit 10 years of marriage your wife will be entitled to half of your retirement and spousal support if you choose to retire from the military. Now do you want to risk half of what the military may owe you for your service to try to resuscitate an obviously dead marriage? Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.